Hello and welcome back. In this week's video we are doing two nice things, we hope. The first one is to show you some of the wonderful trails of the Serra da Estrela, and the second one is of course the continuation of our kitchen renovation project. We've got family visiting who also love to explore the mountains, so we prioritized showing them around over continuing with the kitchen renovation. But we were lucky enough that René's dad loves DIY as much as we do, and he couldn't let the opportunity slip to help us out at least a bit. He has helped us out in all of our houses so far, so yeah, and we are very lucky and happy to have him work alongside us last week on the Sunday to help us take out most of the kitchen and help us hold down the very heavy worktops that were on there. I hope you enjoy this video as always, and let's show you some of those wonderful trails.
The first walk we did was the PR7 GVA, which is a lovely walk from the village of Rio Torto in the foothills of the Serra da Estrela. Today we did a shortened version because the full route is around 10 or 11 kilometers, but we kept it at 7 and keeping to mostly the trails. It's a wonderful accessible route for people of many abilities with not a lot of steep inclines, and even though it's in the foothills of the Serra da Estrela, you do get all the views of the higher mountains. I'll share the link to the full route in the description below. Doe alsof je het neus in hebt. The second walk was a out and back from Valle do Rocim, which is in the middle of the Serra da Estrela mountains. Valle do Rocim is a very big reservoir with a massive dam that gets really busy with families over summer and in the weekends when the weather is nice, because the kids can swim there. And as soon as you leave the big recreational area, you get into all the quiet of the Serra da Estrela mountains. For this walk we ventured to a tiny reservoir called Barragem Erva da Fome, and it was really idyllic. It was really quiet, the views were gorgeous, the waterfalls were stunning, and the best of all is that it's a very accessible route. for people, again, of all abilities. It's not an official route, but I'll share the exact location of the reservoir in the description so that if you're ever there, you can have a look yourself. It really is worth it. After all this idyllic walking, on Sunday it was time to tackle the kitchen. Our goal for the Sunday was to remove all of the kitchen unit apart from the sink unit until we have got that installed in the temporary kitchen, and use the remaining time to remove any more tiles. We didn't have a lot of time for the tiles because the kitchen removal proved to be a bit more challenging than we thought it would be.
don't think this hood, extraction hood, did anything anymore for a very long time, because a very eager bird has built a very big nest in here. Lovely.
Once we had all that behind us, the remaining part of Sunday was spent on removing the tiles. I graciously gave over my protective gear to Henk and then left to do some work outside and downstairs in the garage. But not before I had sealed off our precious new windows to protect them from all the dust and any potential big chips. Here they go.